Hello, guys. I wanted to talk with you today about kind of Christmas in general and the idea of the war on Christmas, which I guess was something that was first really phrased. That term "war on Christmas" really came about in 2005 by Bill O'Reilly. Um, so I want to say that it is strange when I watch these Christmas commercials, or is it even, or can I even call it a Christmas commercial, or should I call it a holiday commercial? Because even though Christmas is something celebrated by most of the Western world, I mean, it's kind of the center of Western civilization is this holiday, Christmas, and celebrated by the vast majority of Americans, but it's apparently in competition, even though it's no competition at all, really, based on demographics. But the media would have you believe that Hanukkah is just as important. And, I don't think that I think that Christmas is an essential part of Western culture and civilization. But you see more and more that you see, like, Jewish communities get worked up over Christmas, and I think most of the war on Christmas can be blamed on the Jews, and I think that that's pretty fair. I think most of the problem with Christmas has come from those people, and so I want to just say from a superficial perspective, you have, like, I've noticed, now this is just my perspective, I've noticed just in the last month or so in the Christmas season, you could say that there's, what's interesting is, like, what's the symbols that are used? What represents Christmas? Because apparently obviously it's the Christmas tree and Santa, and all the presents and the elves and things like that, but that's not really what Christmas is. It never was. That's all very secular and very not Christian at all. Like, Christmas is about Christ, and you don't see any of that in Christmas commercials. In fact, it's just the disgusting level of, it's just disgusting how these corporations exploit Christmas as a holiday, but they don't even really acknowledge what it is at all. It's about the birth of Jesus, okay? It always has been, and there's nothing wrong with celebrating that, and there's nothing wrong with saying Merry Christmas, and, I, as well as many people, don't like saying Happy Holidays and referring to it as the holidays because it happens to be at the same time of year as an obscure Jewish holiday. It's just, there's no other thing to call it. It may be important to Jewish communities, but Hanukkah is not important to Christians. It's not important to Western culture. It's just not. Very few people in America, and very few people in America celebrate Hanukkah. Very, very few. The Jewish community represents 2% of the population, but everyone else is either non-religious or Christian, pretty much. Besides some Muslims as well, I guess, but very few, like 1%, are Muslim. So they don't probably celebrate Christmas, but I just find it disturbing when these Christmas commercials feature, like, it's one thing if they only want to feature, like, Christmas trees and Santa, like, they don't want to show nativity scenes with Jesus being born. They don't want to show Advent wreaths. There are really only two real symbols of Christmas, and it's not Santa, it's not the elves, it's not a Christmas tree even. These are all symbols of Christmas to some extent, but they're secular. The only real Christmas, what Christmas is pretty simple. It's baby Jesus in the nativity, and it's Advent and the Advent wreath. It's not Santa, it's not the elves, and it's certainly not the Star of David or the menorah. These are Jewish symbols representing Hanukkah, and should be celebrated specifically towards Hanukkah. And if Christmas commercials, if companies want to do it wouldn't be a Christmas commercial. If companies want to do Hanukkah commercials and show the menorah and the Star of David, that's fine, and they can market to the millions and millions of Jews in the country who celebrate Hanukkah. That's fine, but they're not going to sell near as well as they would if they did a Christmas commercial. So what you have now is this really gross amalgamation of the holidays. One is a really well known and universally, almost nearly universally celebrated holiday called Christmas in this country and across the Western civilization. And another one is Hanukkah, which is a completely different holiday celebrated by a completely different group of people, a small minority in this country, and we have to pay them the same deference, the same respect as we do Christians in Christmas. It's just not right. I don't think it's right at all. And I think when I see commercials like from this isn't a commercial, but it's a mailer ad that I seen in the mail from the U.S. Post Office, which showed a black family, or a father and daughter, who were wrapping presents, and they had a Christmas tree, but it wasn't a Christmas tree because it had little stars of David all over it. Like there wasn't anything Christian about this supposedly Christmas themed post office advertisement on something that I got from the mail. So it was a Christmas tree, supposedly, but it had the Star of David all over it. It wasn't little crosses or crucifixes. It wasn't a nativity. It wasn't an Advent wreath. It was a bunch of Stars of David. And I seen a Starbucks commercial just the other day, and it's running right now. A Starbucks commercial, and they managed to fit a little menorah in there as well. It's a fun game, honestly. I play this game where I don't watch much TV, but the little bit of TV I watch, I try to look at I observe the Christmas commercials and try to see, okay, is it really a Christmas commercial, or is it a Jewish, or is it some bastardization, some billion-dollar corporation who is making this commercial, and it's not even really a Christmas commercial because it has symbols for Hanukkah and not Christianity, and not even for Christmas, So the Starbucks commercial I seen had the menorah, and I've seen the menorah shown twice just on Good Morning America. I watch Good Morning America almost every day, and they like to show anything themed for Christmas is really themed for the holidays. Good Morning America will show a Christmas tree with a menorah right next to it, and I don't even know, is that even really a thing? Do Jews really celebrate Hanukkah with a Christmas tree? I don't know, but it seems unlikely because it's a Christmas tree. Everybody knows it as a Christmas tree, and yet the few examples I've seen of it shown have, in one case, been with the Star of David as a decoration covering the tree, and in a Starbucks commercial or on Good Morning America, I've seen it shown the Christmas tree will be right next to a menorah. Or I've seen another segment on Good Morning America where it was just, it was a table set for a Christmas dinner. and it had a menorah in the center. And so what I don't understand is, why can't there be Christmas commercials and Hanukkah commercials? Why do they have to merge them into some gross they don't belong together. These are different religions, and they're trying to melt them down into one. And one religion happens to be Christianity, which is celebrated by most of the country, and hundreds of millions of people all across the West, like 1 billion people in the world. And the other one is Judaism and Hanukkah, which is celebrated by and is participated, and it has, like, I don't know, maybe 50 million, maybe there's 50 million Jews in the world, but it's much less than Christians. And Christmas is much more celebrated than Hanukkah. So, I find it annoying. I'm annoyed and kind of disgusted by these Christmas commercials that seem to care more about Hanukkah than they do about Christmas. They don't care about Christianity. They don't care about Christmas. The concern is for the Jews in Hanukkah, and that bothers me, because this is a Christian country, and we're giving more deference to, and these Christmas commercials by these corporations, that they seem more interested in catering to Judaism than they do to Christianity, and it can't help but breed conspiracies about the kind of power that Jews must have in the media and in entertainment, because all these commercials come out and you don't see Advent wreaths, you don't see nativity scenes. It'd be one thing if it was just Santa and elves and a Christmas tree and presents, but no, you see the secular depiction of Christmas in the form of Christmas trees and Santa, but then then this Hanukkah stuff gets kind of melted into it and baked into it, as if people celebrate the two holidays together, and it's like, no, these are separate holidays. I mean, if you're an even smaller minority of people who celebrate both religions and both holidays, that's fine. But why does the vast majority of the country have to tolerate this merging of religions and merging of beliefs? And really, when it comes down to it, the dilution of both. I don't like it. And the only example I saw of a commercial that actually showed a Christian object, like something that's actually Christian in the religious form, was I seen one commercial where Etsy, the online like craft dealer kind of site, Etsy, had a commercial where they showed the Advent wreath. And I was so taken aback by it, because I'm so used to seeing commercials where it's only secular Christmas stuff, not even Christian, for a Christian holiday. And if you do see anything actually religious in a Christmas commercial, or anything relating to Christmas on the news or whatever on TV, it's going to be something Jewish. It's going to be the Star of David, or it's going to be the menorah. I've seen the menorah 3-4 times on TV, and I don't even watch much TV. And it's not that it's a commercial specific for Hanukkah and directed at Jewish people. It's a commercial that's meant to be a Christmas commercial, but it's called a holiday commercial, and it's meant to merge these two holidays and two religions together. And that's not right, because one religion and one holiday is very popular in this country. The other one is celebrated by a very small amount of people, percentage-wise, in the population of the country. So, yeah, and then there's this Atlantic article I wanted to discuss. It's an older article, but it's from 2 years ago. But they say from 2005 to 2019, the percentage of Americans who celebrate Christmas has dropped 3%. Not a lot, but from 96% to 93%. That's So that again shows you how many people celebrate Christmas, but it's gone from 96 to 93%. And when they asked from 2005 to 2019, and when they asked how many people, when they asked Americans if their celebrations of Christmas are strongly religious, that's gone from, and that was from 2005 to 2019. It's gone from 47% down to 35% in just 15 years. So whether you want to say that there's a war on Christmas, which it feels like there is, and not just Christmas but Christians, and that there's this attempt to bury Christianity in obscurity and try to blend it with other religions and other holidays, particularly Judaism. It seems to be working, whether you believe it or not. It seems to be working because people are celebrating Christmas slightly less, and Christmas having any religious connotation and actually being religious holidays for people has dropped from about half of the country to about a third of the country in just 15 years. So whether there's a war on Christmas or not, whether you want to open your eyes and see it, it is bearing out in the results of polling done of Americans that Christmas is becoming less celebrated and less religious. And it's not something, and this subject about a war on Christmas is not discussed much in the media, but it seems to be happening. And I can't help but look at this, and I'm sure if I watched Christmas commercials all day on all different channels, I'd see a bunch more examples of this. But I don't watch a lot of TV, and I'm able to find this trend, and I can't help but think this has something to do with. I can't help but think this might have something to do with Jewish communities wanting to kind of get a tighter grip on Christians and get closer to Christians as a way to protect themselves, because it's certainly this way with Israel. I mean, I can't help but think that this kind of thing going on, and like the relationship with Jewish communities in this country and what's going on in Israel. Now I know that a lot of Jewish people don't support what's going on in Israel with Gaza, but it feels like there's this merging that they're trying to blend into the country and tie themselves into Christianity in a way where a largely Christian country like the United States and other Western largely Christian countries in Europe are going to come to the defense of Israel, even though Israel is not in our best interest at all. Israel they're an evil country. Israel is doing terrible things in the Middle East. They're gonna get us into war with Iran if we keep it up. They don't do much for us. I don't see why we have a love of Israel in this country. Particularly, there's a bit of a generation gap in that. I know that a lot of younger people dislike Israel and what they do, and a lot of older people seem to like Israel. And Christians in this country kind of have a weird affinity for Israel because of the idea that Israel and its relation to the second coming of Jesus, and in the case of Jews, they believe the first coming of Jesus, or I should say the Messiah. When it comes to the struggles of Israel, have to do, I guess, in prophecy with revelations. So there's this weird relationship with Christians and Jews, and I don't think that people realize. People don't think about this going on. I feel like I know that I'm not the only one. There's all kinds of people out there who have criticisms of Israel and Jewish people at large. And when you think about how such a small minority of people in this country are getting equal or greater representation in Christmas commercials, and they've managed to turn Christmas into the holidays and make two holidays out of one holiday that is very well celebrated, Christmas, and one holiday that is minuscule and only celebrated by a very small amount of people and is obscure, you know, when you think about how those two holidays have become kind of one when it comes to the media and when it comes to commercials, and it's they're culturally turning it into one holiday. And you think about how Israel, a country of like 7 million people, have basically taken over our government and have gotten our government to pass wide-ranging hate speech laws and given them all the weapons they could ever want, and we're helping them to we have troops in Israel helping them with their missile guidance with their missile defense system. We have our carriers in Israel in the Red Sea and surrounding Israel, protecting them. All we do is protect Israel, and all we do is help them and give them weapons and give them money, and they in turn take that money and primary and influence our elections and primary any politicians who have anything critical to say about Israel. And you know, I don't know when people are going to wake up to the amount of influence that Jewish communities have both within our country and outside our country, from, you know, whether it's Jewish communities influencing how we celebrate Christmas, or whether it's Israel influencing our foreign policy more than any country in the world, and telling and getting our politicians to pass hate speech laws in defense of Israel and protecting Jewish people who are not in danger in this country, and making them more into a protected class than they already are. I don't know when people are going to wake up to the influence that these communities are having both inside our country and outside on our country, but people are asleep. And you know, this is a war on Christmas, but in a lot of ways it's a lot more than that. All right, thanks guys.